Right, so I've been wondering lately, can fish pee and poo feed the world? And the answer is probably, to a certain extent, yes. So if you're interested, stick around and I'll explain why. Right, my name is David Maloney, you're watching Question and Answers, and this is Work with Nature. I have loads of questions here, well, one anyway in particular. So, Beach Aaron, you asked a question a few weeks ago, and sorry now, I'm not going to answer this question because I found an older question of yours from 2 years ago, and somehow I pretty much overlooked it, so I'm sorry about that, but I'm going to get to answering that question now. And if you are also still waiting on your questions, they're coming. Okay. Nice channel friend, I'm looking forward to checking out your great looking videos. I'm trying to learn about self-sufficiency, so I believe I have found the right place. Say, have you ever looked into aquaponic gardening? I live in a cold climate in Canada, and I'm looking for a way to run a garden all year long. Whether in a greenhouse or in my basement. I hear that aquaponics is a solution. Thanks. Now the answer is, of course, yes, you can do aquaponics in the basement, and in some ways I would encourage you to do so, especially if you like eating fish. I'll explain now, bear with me now, if you don't know what aquaponics is, I'm actually going to explain what it is now in a second. And it just is a wonderful way of growing lots of fish which are full of protein and things like that, very healthy for you, and you're growing vegetables which are full of vitamins and also very healthy for you. So definitely go for it wherever you can. Now you can do it in the basement, even though that's not very sustainable, or you can grow them in a glass house or polythene. Right, so first we need to look at what aquaponics is, as in how does the system actually work, just to give you an idea. And the simplest way to explain it is very simply that you have a big tank of your fish, with your fish, you're growing the fish in there, and you also over here have a tray. It's the growing medium for your plants, your vegetables. And in this tray, it's a little bit different than hydroponics, you actually have rocks in there. And they are usually porous. Now you can of course use normal rocks, but they have to be roughly the size of maybe 8 millimeters. This goes also for the porous ones, 8 millimeters to about 60 millimeters. But the only thing with that is that you want to make sure that there's no that they're not too alkaline. So that means no kind of limestone and things like that. And the way you can test it is by just throwing it into some vinegar. So, right, now what you do then is you're pumping some of this liquid over to the tray fills up, and in the tray you have a pipe that is at the top level, the actual opening is at the top level of the actual rocks. And what happens then is once the water fills up to that point, it actually sucks down that water back into the tank, and that kind of cleans the water for the fish. Now the problem is, if you're doing it that way, the water will actually just sit there the whole entire time. And that's not what we want in aquaponics, because we want the bacteria to actually get air as well. And the way that works is you have a kind of type of a bell shape, it's closed up here, but it has holes around the side at the bottom, which also corresponds to the bottom level of your tray. So when you stick that over there, there's a physical, mechanical law that says that it will actually, when the water reaches to the very top of that pipe that comes up, it will actually, just as it flows over, it will suck all that water down through the bottom holes, up into the pipe, back into the tray. So what you've done there is, as the water sucks down, oxygen gets sucked into the stones, which is what aerobic bacteria actually need. You need aerobic bacteria in this tray in order for you to actually grow vegetables. Now some of you might say, ooh, this whole fish pee and poo is a bad idea, because obviously it seems disgusting, right? But it isn't, because bacteria are actually eating that pee and poo in a way. And then you have bigger bacteria, so you can't even see them, bigger bacteria eating the smaller bacteria, and now when they poo, right, that becomes the water-soluble nitrogen for them as well. So in a way, anybody who eats anything, in fact, at one stage or another has eaten, it's more like bacteria poo than, anyway, but you're not even eating it, because the plants take it up and they build cells and things like that, so no big deal. Okay, there's another thing that I wanted to mention as well, which is that this system also can work to its optimum if you do two things. One is you need to also suck up that sediment from the bottom of the fish tank, otherwise it becomes, it runs poisonous, so the fish of course eventually die. And the way you do that, there's a very clever system that I can't really explain, so I'm not going to attempt it, but it's something to do with water displacement, and I kind of know how it works, but I can't explain it. And what happens, so look online on how to actually do it. What happens is there's a pipe at the bottom, at the very bottom of the tank, and you have a second tank, sorry, and it kind of sucks then up the sediment, and it places it actually over on your growing tray, and you have a mat that catches this sediment, because you don't want that in your vegetable growing medium. And I think that's a great way, because then you never have to actually clean the fish tank. So wow, a wonderful system, and you're growing vegetables with it as well. And this is another thing what I think is great, is that you do not have to feed those vegetables. That's incredible, that you don't have to buy all that fertilizer, and so it's cheap, it's environmentally friendly, and it's just like really, really brilliant. Now, last but not least, before I give you my views on the entire system, including hydroponics, aquaponics and aquaculture, I do think it's a wonderful thing where you can take two minuses with aquaponics. You can take two minuses, which is of course the quantity of ammonia in the water, or the dirt and things like that. You can actually take that away from the fish, so the fish are happy. But at the same time, with the hydroponic system, you're taking away the whole need for adding fertilizer. So you're taking two minuses, and everybody knows when you put them together you get a plus, and that's what aquaponics is all about. Wonderful system. Now let's look at what my opinion is on the whole thing, if I may say so. You see, you're asking whether you can do the aquaponics thing in the basement, and you can do aquaponics, you can do hydroponics, you can do all that kind of thing in the basement, no problem. But the only problem I feel is that we need to have the really important thing is called sustainability. We need to be sustainable. The more sustainable we possibly can, the better. So if you're going to set up all these growing lights and things like that, it's going to take more energy, and we are becoming, as a human race, we're heading in the direction where energy is going to be the limiting factor of everything we do. So if we can find a way of reducing that energy output, even the better. So the way I would go about it is, and I don't know why most houses don't have this, any house should have a lean-to glass house or greenhouse. So you get free light, you get heating during the night time, because the heat will be released into your house. Your house will heat in wintertime the glass house, so you can grow whatever you want. And I think that would be just a really nice, neat solution to the entire thing of growing. It just works in combination with each other. Again, two minuses and you get a plus. And the way I would go about it is I would have my fish tank in my glass house, and I would be growing 100 fish or so. And then instead of having my tray, because the problem with this setup with aquaponics is that you are going to have, the tank is going to limit the amount of growing space you're going to have, because remember, the plants are only using the nitrogen in the water. So if I could I want to grow more vegetables, so how can I achieve that? Very simply, I grow my vegetables the normal way in soil, and I just use, and the most simplest way of doing it is I use 2 clean watering cans, and I just water all my plants with this extra boost of fertilization. Now, this is a wonderful way of going about it, because of course the soil is providing all the nutrients and things like that for my plants, but at the same time I've got all this extra boost of liquid. What a wonderful way to kind of grow both fish for eating and vegetables for eating. Now that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, please do like up this video and share it as well. Let people know about this ideas if you enjoyed it. And yeah, as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.